Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the St. Charles Parish Board of Commissioners. The regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners is for the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. All right. All rise for the pledge. Oh. Sorry, next agenda item is roll call. Commissioner Bailey.
Commissioner Woods.
Commissioner Gilbert.
And we have quorum this evening. All rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next agenda item for this evening is the review and the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion? All right, motion by Commissioner Woods.
Mr. Chair, I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Motion by Mr. Woods. You have a second?
A second motion.
Second by Commissioner Joseph. All in favor? All right. Yeas have it. On to the next agenda item. We will review and approval of the board meeting minutes from the April 22nd, 2025 meeting. Do we have a motion? Any comments?
I do have a comment, Mr. Vice Chairman. It appears that Miss Diggs is not shown as being present at our last meeting. And I see in the minutes where she even made motions and seconded something. So would the record reflect that Miss Diggs was present at our last regular board meeting?
Commissioner Woods.
And Mr. Chair, with that, I'll make a motion for you. I'll help you along if you don't mind. I'll make a motion for you that I move with the correction to Ms. Diggs that we accept the minutes as presented.
Do you have any second or comment on it? Okay. All right. All in favor? Cast your votes. All right. Motion passed. Yeas have it. All right. Our next agenda item this evening is public comments. Seeing that we don't have anyone present at the meeting in the public, we're going to go ahead and close it and move on to our next item, which is the review and acceptance of the financial reporting. We have the March 2025 and the April 2025. And I must say we're catching up.
We are caught up. Yeah.
We are caught up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can I request the floor just to make it brief? Okay.
The floor.
Again, thank you, Vice Chairman Bailey, and good evening, Commissioners. As an update from our last meeting, we have confirmed that Mr. Paul Rogers from 76 Strategies will be in person for our June meeting to provide a breakdown of the structure of the financial reports, the information that is included in them, and to take any questions that you may have. So I just wanted to make sure that the Commissioners were aware of that. For your review and acceptance, we have in your financial reporting through the month of April 2025, and that is included in your board packets. I am not personally sure when the last time that we were able to be up to date to the board on financial reporting was, but I want to thank our board for positioning the agency to be in this position, and to the staff and to our financial fee accountant consulting firm, 76 Strategies, for working to make this a reality. It has taken many months of work and reconciliation and communication, and I am pleased to say this evening that your financial reporting is current. So thank you again for that. The March 2025 financial report begins on page 11 of your packet, and the April 2025 financial reporting begins on page 90. Just a point to note, the MENAR projections will be provided at the end of each quarter, so please expect that next projection to be included in our July meeting packet. That would be the meeting before or prior to the last quarter of the fiscal year. And we're also just notified of an increase in HAP funding that may allow us to issue some additional vouchers than we initially anticipated, and we will update the board on that when we know more. So please, and lastly, on page 188, we have included an ELOCS breakdown. As of May 20th, we have an available balance to draw of $840,605 across not only the capital fund line items, but also the operational fund line items. And that concludes my portion of the report. Please let me know if you have any questions.
So at this, whenever he does come down, he says, what's his name? 76.
Paul Rogers.
No, Paul Rogers come down for 76. Is he open for suggestions on, or maybe just kind of what certain things we might want to see like up front, and then like do some modifications?
Absolutely, yes.
I mean, I'm sure Commissioner Wood's gonna have some things that he wants to see on the forefront.
3 months worth of questions.
Okay.
But looking forward to see Mr. Rogers next month. For me, a lot of the questions are going to be about process, and then his presentation and what are we to get from it. What are we to get from it, and how he's presenting it to us. Where do we go to look and find it? So it's going to be more about process for me. So I do have some questions. There are some specifics. I mean, outstanding checks is still going to be a question of mine, and I found that's been a consistent thing that I've been seeing over the last several months. Let me stop and say that thank you so much, ED and fee accountant staff and everybody, that we are current with finances. That yes, we are where we should be. So that's corrective action for the agency as a whole is doing well. Some more specific questions, but I'll save that for our fee accountant. But since you did mention the portfolio and the awards on page 188, I saw a little flag on that I had that page actually marked in my things to ask, just out of curiosity. And if that's something for him, that's fine too.
Sure. And it's something that I did mention at the last board meeting. For some reason, that capital fund project year, even though it's closed, it has not been removed from the list of open awards.
And the just flag, to be clear, we're talking about the first one.
Yes. LA 8.
I thought it said it looked like it was closed.
LA 48 PO 094501-21. So that's the 2021 Capital Fund Project Award. That is a capital fund project with an available balance on it that has closed already. That flag noted that there was a capital fund project award that still had an available balance on it. So that's really what that flag was about.
Okay. That was going to be my question on that one. Okay, and with that, Mr. Vice Chair, I'm going to say we'll save our questions, for next month. But we are current, and we can get some good tracking going on. So, Mr. Jones, anything?
Any other comments?
I'll make a motion for you, Mr. Vice Chair, but I'm going to modify it just a little bit.
Okay. What you got?
I would make a motion that we accept the financials as presented, and we'll definitely get to review them at our next meeting and probably review, say, the last quarter or so. So, yes, I make a motion that we accept that they have been turned in, and we'll do the review process at our next meeting of these, March and April events.
Yeah, so if I'm correct, we're accepting receipt of the financials, but as for the review report,
Next
that
month.
is only be. I guess we're tabling that till next.
Um,
Can we do that with it being half of the?
with modifying the agenda item, you could amend the agenda item to be an acceptance pending review at the next board meeting. So you could make an amendment,
so-
a motion. You could move to make an amendment
Okay.
to the agenda item.
So I'll withdraw that first one and then make another different
Yes.
amendment. Okay. So, Mr. Vice Chairman, I withdraw my original motion and make a motion to accept,
Amend.
to amend, to provide for review at next month's regular meeting.
All right. So Commissioner Woods had withdrawn his first motion, and his second motion is to amend the agenda for the review aspect of this item to be done at the next meeting, and his motion currently is to accept it in record. And do we have a second? All right. Second by Commissioner Joseph. All in favor? Ayes have it. Motion carried. And our next agenda item is the Executive Director's report. Executive Director Jedediah, whenever you're ready.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Vice Chairman Bailey, and thank you again, Commissioners, for being here this evening. We hope that everyone is doing well on tonight. And again, as we always do, we want to thank the Commissioners, our residents, and our stakeholders for their support and their guidance of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. In your board pack tonight, we have the April 2025 low rent report, which can be found on page 191 in your packet.
All right.
And I will go through that as follows. The total rent collection for the month of April was $13,836. Of all of our units, we have leased up 46, which is an increase over the last month. We now stand at 13 vacant units and the 70 mod units across the Desalmans, Hanville, and a few of the boutique units. I wanted to make sure that the commissioners were aware of the increase in leased units, and also that we've included in your report the work order records as well as a repair plan. But also on page 194, I just want to make sure that you know that our waiting list currently has 268. The old waiting list that we have currently has 268 applicants, and the new waiting list has 78 applicants, and this is for low rent public housing. We did send out 15 waiting list letters, and as indicated, we do have 14 work orders that were started and completed in a timely manner in the month of April. The work order summary begins, as I indicated, on page 195, and also the repair plan for the vacant units at the boutique property begins on page 209. For your information, to make sure that you're aware of what we are working towards to ensure that the remaining 13 units that we have listed as vacant are made ready for move-in. Our goal internally is to ensure that the vacancies that we currently have are all move-in ready and occupied by the end of August 2025. We know that that is a moving target considering the waiting list process that we have in place and ensuring that the units are leased up. But that is our goal as it relates to ensuring that our occupancy rate meets the standards of the HUD recovery agreement of 95%. Next up, we have our report for April 2025 for the Housing Choice Voucher Program. That can be found on page 212 of your board packet. I will go through that as follows. For general activity as of April 30th, 2025, we have 1 port out searching from the St. John Parish Housing Authority, and we have 5 port outs leased up across St. John, Kenner, Ouachita, and a housing authority in Texas. We have 13 port ins leased up through Kenner, Hano, Thibodaux, Houston Housing, St. John Parish, City of Fernandina, Florida, Natchitoches, as well as Jefferson Parish. We did have 2 EOPs as of the end of the month. And for our HCV payments across all areas, we let out $267,257.20. And as it relates to our HAP income across all areas, we received $280,078.03. We do currently have 8 processing from our current waiting list. We have 10 voucher holders in-house searching, and we did add 2 new landlords to the program. We currently, as it relates to our voucher statistics, have 245 vouchers leased up with 8 searching. And again, we did receive an indication late last week that we would probably receive an increase. We say probably only because the money hasn't hit the bank account yet, but that we would receive an increase in our HAP payment from HUD from June through the end of the fiscal year, which is an encouraging sign considering that we were on shortfall, so that we'll be able to incrementally increase the number of vouchers that we have leased up. Just wanted to let you know also that tonight we have 3 resolutions being considered by the board, the first being the creation of a personnel policy. This document will be a boilerplate that we can build off of as we move through the process of ensuring completion of agency policies. This policy is necessary to ensure that our human resource standards are codified and that our staff and prospective employees understand and have access to what those standards are. There is an expectation that this policy will be amended as needed, as all policies are, but it ensures that we have a baseline to start from. The most recent personnel policy that I was able to locate was not clear, and it also had a number of issues and errors that caused for the creation of this new policy. The second resolution to be considered tonight is a change order number 1 to RFP 001-2025. Our selected vendor, Guarantee Restoration Services, began interior demolition, and during that process consulted with their electrician, who indicated that the work on the wiring and the panel box needed to be done to ensure that energy would restore power to the unit once work was completed. This was not something that could have been seen by anyone during the creation of their quote. Our insurance company also did not indicate that in the repair specs, and we have since requested that a supplemental claim be processed to increase the insurance proceeds for the repair work. The change order would increase the contract cap on the work from $75,000 to $88,900. Considering the desire to make the unit move-in ready and occupied, we are requesting approval of this change order. And the third and final resolution involves the approval of the creation of an agency emergency preparedness plan. The absence of this plan has been noted in the current audit report and past audit reports. This plan will allow for a framework by which the agency can ensure prompt communication between it, its residents, and stakeholders, and to ensure continuity of operations in the event of an emergency situation. And we want to thank the board, the staff, St. Charles Parish President Matt Jewell, the administrative staff, including Samantha DeCastro, Jason Tassett, the St. Charles Parish Sheriff Greg Champagne, and Jim Polk for their assistance reviewing and working with the Housing Authority to create and support the plan from pre-event through post-event emergency situations. Next, Commissioners, we are in receipt of the final audit report from Mr. Mike Estes for the fiscal year ending 2024. In reviewing his report, we want to make sure that the Commissioners are aware of the findings that were listed in the report. We did have 4 findings that were included by Mr. Estes. The first being insufficient restricted cash and deficit in unrestricted net position due to expenditures during the fiscal year in the HCV program. And we are working with 76 Strategies to address the interfund transfers finding from the audit to ensure that any prorations that we have are aligned with percentages that are closer to reality between both programs. Finding number 2, it was found that some expenditures were unsupported, and we are in the process of determining what those unsupported expenditures were to ensure that they were allowable in case there is any follow-up from local or national HUD. Finding number 3 indicated we did not follow some aspects of our procurement policy, and we are in the process of determining what the violations of the procurement policy could lend themselves to through any follow-up. Although we have overhauled our procurement process to align with the procurement policy so that issues should no longer exist. And the last finding, late submission to the Louisiana State Legislative Auditor's Office of the audit report. Late submission of the audit to the state. By the next audit period, though, we will have systems in place that will ensure that the audit is submitted timely to the state. And as a note for the commissioners, our audit reporting has been submitted to HUD REAC, the Federal Audit Clearinghouse, and the State Legislative Auditor's Office. This timely submission to our federal partners closes out our fiscal year 24 submission requirements, and I am happy to report that both the unaudited and audited reports have been submitted timely to HUD. We will get the hard copy of the report to the commissioners once we receive them from Mr. Estes' office. And while I want to qualify our findings by saying we will implement corrective action measures for the audit findings that I've indicated, there were no critical concerns communicated by Mr. Estes during his visit and subsequent follow-up. And we want to thank the board, the staff, and our fee accountant, 76 Strategies, for assisting us in getting Mr. Estes and his staff the information he requested to ensure timely federal submission and to provide an understanding of what we need to work on to ensure compliance going forward. Lastly, commissioners, we did hold a budget and audit committee meeting on May the 20th. While there were no action items, we did advise on 3 topics, the first being the audit report findings, and there was a discussion regarding those, the pending retirement benefit resolution, and the change order that you are considering tonight for RFP 001-2025. And the retirement benefit resolution is due to a previous finding from past audits that indicated that our retirement benefit offering was insufficient and did not address the real cost of retirement for our employees. That resolution will come before the board, first the Finance and Audit Committee, and then the board for our June meeting, so that by August 1st, we can be in a position to begin a retirement benefit that aligns with the civil service evaluation and annual raise process. And those items were discussed, and we did have a resident in attendance. And with that, commissioners, that concludes my report. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Woods, you have the floor.
Occupancy rate. I was gonna ask what is our occupancy rate? I heard you say that with our agreement with HUD is 95%, and I know we got things in mod and all the numbers you got to juggle, but as far as what is the occupancy rate? What do we turn into HUD as our occupancy rate?
So right now, and the occupancy rate is based on available units, units that are able to be moved into, not necessarily mod units. So those are not taken into consideration for occupancy rate. But
okay, gotcha.
Sure,
So
yeah.
they're not counting against us or whatever, because
So
we're still getting paid,
Yeah,
right?
mod.
Bottom line.
mod demo dispo, correct?
Yeah,
We are still
okay.
getting a subsidy for that.
Gotcha. Thank
So
you.
of the 59 available units, currently 46 are occupied. So 46 divided by 59 is 78%. So getting us to, I believe it was when I was doing
95, I think.
when I was doing my initial calculations, getting to 56 occupied units would get us over the 95% threshold.
Okay. All right. Good
And we
deal.
do have a number of units that are moving ready. I believe we have 3 lease ups that are going to be done by June 1st. So that'll put us for our reporting next month at 49.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't have any move outs planned right now, so we will have hopefully. Actually, there was a unit where a resident passed away, so we are going to be working to lease up to relocate a resident from one unit to that unit and to lease up the unit that the resident previously occupied. So we may go down one next month, but we're going up at least 2 from this month to last month, and we have a number of units that are moving ready, as I listed and indicated on the report for the repair.
And so basically, moving forward, the next month, 2, 3, those occupancy rate numbers will increase and get better.
Yes.
That's the main thing. Okay. On our work orders, I did read through every one of them. All I'm gonna just ask on that, like, could it just be filled out more completely? There's information that's available to be filled out on the work order, and just as much as reasonably possible, just put more information on it.
Sure.
Yeah. The repair plan for the units you mentioned, there was a lot of it was in green. That's ready to move. We definitely did see that. I think that's all I have, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any other comments on the executive director report? All right. Our next agenda items, we're going to move into the resolution. Our first resolution is, give me 1 second while I go to that page.
It's 2:30, I think.
That's it. So our first resolution of this evening is
You don't have to read the policy as it's written, just the background and the recommendation and the actual text of the resolution.
Okay. So our first resolution is Resolution 25-05-27-01, a resolution approving and adopting a resolution for creation of a St. Charles Parish personnel policy. And do we have a memorandum this evening? So the purpose of this memorandum is to provide an overview of the proposed resolution to approve and adopt a resolution for the creation of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority personnel policy. Background: the authority is a public housing agency established and pursuant to the Louisiana law, whose mission is to promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and a living environment free of discrimination. Committed to the authority's mission, the staff is continuously working to improve services, strengthen operations, and implement sound policy. The agency and its board of commissioners from time to time, as dictated by HUD, federal regulation, must create and revise agency policies and procedures to ensure compliance with federal, state, and local law, as well as look for efficiency of process. The policy affects the current, incumbent, and future employees of the commissioner and commissioners of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority to ensure transparency and accountability with human resource matters. This resolution will allow for the creation of the attached policy governing the St. Charles Parish personnel.
And then you can go to the conclusion and the required action and the recommendation.
All right, in conclusion, this personnel policy manual has been crafted to create a fair, respectful, and productive work environment for all employees of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. The manual will be revised and updated regularly to maintain compliant with evolving laws and practices in human resource management. Employees are encouraged to reach out to their supervisor with any inquiries or concerns regarding the policy outlined in this manual. Action required: the approval and adoption of this resolution by the Board of Commissioners is required for the creation of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority personnel policy. The staff recommends board approval and adoption of the proposed resolution for the creation of the St. Charles Parish Authority personnel policy. All right. So then we pass a motion, then I read. All right. So do we have any comments or motion for the resolution 25-05-27-01?
I mean, I do.
Commissioner Woods, you have the floor.
Thank you. I do have some comments, and I certainly can make a motion. The first comment on page 233, it talks about the mission vision statement in this personnel policy. And I'll say just generally, and not a whole lot of conversation, but I kind of had with the ED that mission vision statement could use some revision, and where I'm coming from is that that creates our vision to bring us all on the same page. So my question was, is it possible for staff and commissioners to participate together for an update of our mission and vision statement, so we can say, here's where we are, we're all in the same team together, this is where we like to be. So just for this particular personnel policy and generally for our agency, I'm hoping we can address that just to kind of make sure we're all got the same thoughts and mindset. I certainly will still support this and vote for it, to be honest, but with the view that we are going to address mission vision statement in the future, the next several months or so on that.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Woods. The mission, the vision, and the values.
Yes.
That's something that we definitely can work to address.
Because it's just been like the same for
it has.
forever and whatever. Okay. Thank you on that.
And that would update through all of them, right? That'll be the mission vision for everything.
Yeah, that would be
that's
for the
for the
agency.
agency together,
Yes,
so they'll be added on every.
Anything that includes
that
a
includes it.
document, a documented mission or vision statement will include any revision that is ultimately decided upon by the board and the staff. Yes.
Sounds good. And the only other comment I'll make on that is particularly in page 250, the training and development. I'm just glad to see that in there where we have great expectations of our staff and ED and even ourselves. So I would really want them out there, whatever training is available, that they really, get that and that's available to them, for sure. So I like seeing that in there. With that, Mr. Vice Chair, if you don't mind, I'll make a motion for you.
Go for it.
With that, I make a motion to. Resolution number. Oh, here it is. With that, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 25-05-27-001, approving and adopting a resolution for a creation of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. It's not in there. Personnel policy.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Commissioner Woods and second by Commissioner Joseph. All right, all in favor? Cast your votes. Yeas have it. Motion carries. So the undersigned being the duly elected Secretary of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority hereby certifies that by written consent the following resolution was duly adopted. Whereas the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority is a public housing agency established and pursuant to Louisiana law, and whereas the mission of the authority is to promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and sustainable living environment free from discrimination, and whereas the authority is dictated by federal, state, and local laws and regulations must revise its various policies and procedures to ensure compliance and efficiency of process. And whereas the need arises for an agency to create a policy entitled St. Charles Parish Public Housing Authority Personnel Policy, and whereas the authority and its board of commissioners wishes to create the attached St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Personnel Policy, now therefore be it resolved that the resolution to create a policy entitled the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Personnel Policy is hereby adopted. All right, and now we're on to our next resolution of the evening. This is the resolution 25-05-27-02, approving and adopting a resolution for change order number 1, RFP 2025. I have a memorandum this evening. This proposed memorandum is to provide the overview. The purpose of this memorandum is to provide an overview of the proposed resolution to approve and adopt a resolution for change order number 1 for RFP 001-2025 for the renovation of the fire damage unit at the boutique property. The authority is a public housing agency established pursuant to Louisiana law whose mission is to promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and a living environment free from discrimination. Committed to the authority's mission, the staff is continuously working to improve services, strengthen operations, and implement sound policy. The authority and its board of commissioners from time to time, as dictated by its procurement policy, must let out a request for proposal or RFP for qualified and responsive vendors to complete work on behalf of the authority. In April 2024, Unit 254 at the boutique property caught fire and was heavily damaged. In order to bring the unit back online, the damage was significant enough to require a solicitation to be let to have the work completed. The authority advertises a solicitation for RFP 001-2025, which would allow for a selection of a vendor to renovate the fire damage unit at the boutique property. In response to the advertisement and solicitation, the authority received 4 on-time responsive proposals from Project 1 Development, HBP Construction, and Juno Construction, and Guaranteed Renovation Services. The authority's board of commissioners selected Guaranteed Restoration Services. When work began on the unit in May of 2025, it was discovered that an issue with the electrical wiring existed that wasn't seen or known until the demolition of the unit began. The electrical wiring issue is necessitating the need for a change order in the amount of $13,900. Scope is attached. This will require an increase for the contract cap from $75,000 to $88,900. St. Charles Parish reached out to the insurance company who provided the initial claim in the amount of $61,000, and the insurance company has begun to review the initial quote and the change order request to determine what additional insurance proceeds will be provided to the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority for the repair. Approval and adoption of this resolution by the Board of Commissioners is required for the authority to approve a change order for the work associated with the RFP to repair the burned unit at the Brooklyn property. Staff recommends board approval and adoption of the proposed resolution. This recommendation is due to the nature of the change order request, which will resolve a building code issue, which would prevent the unit from being reoccupied after the repairs are completed if it was not addressed. Do you have any comments or motions for this resolution?
I don't know where this is gonna go, but I'm gonna ask it. And I did read something in there because my question was gonna be that if we're gonna make this change, and I know in our finance meeting we talked about this, it kind of is what it is. But I guess my question was, if we are gonna make this change, would that cost be picked up by insurance or whatever? So that's something I'm reading that they're just reviewing. Or
So yes, that is the hope and the intention is that any costs that are seen above and beyond what the initial claim was could be paid out by the insurance company. The initial claim was provided prior to me coming on, but Ms. Prevost, the previous interim executive director, indicated that once the insurance company was made aware of the real cost, that they would be able to be in a position to modify the claim.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the hope, yes.
Okay. And until that's resolved, will that not hold us up from making repairs? We're going to go ahead and move forward with repairs. Am I understand that?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Occupancy report.
Yes,
Great.
This is a part of that. Absolutely, absolutely.
And with that being said, we already have a dedicated amount of 61, right?
Correct.
Okay, so 61 is a little bit short than what we have. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we
It's
do
a
have
little bit short,
available
but we're hoping
capital
to
fund.
we have a
Project
capital
fund,
fund. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
they include in at least some of this, hopefully all of the wiring scope.
Mhm.
It would be as bad.
Yeah. And it again, it's
What's the timeline on the insurance company though? How?
I'm not sure. They requested some information and they're in the process of reviewing it. So.
But they already dedicated 61.
Mhm.
Just waiting on not a change or something.
So 77, 61 and 88 was 27.
Supplement. We're waiting on a supplement,
Yes.
right? We're waiting on a supplement, but we're gonna get the work done with the 61. That's already been guaranteed. Okay. All right.
so worst case we might have to cover it, but I think we're gonna do what we gotta do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we got 61. That's better than
Yep.
nothing.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 25-05-27-02, approving and adopting a resolution for change order number 1 for RFP 001-2025.
We have a motion by Commissioner Woods, second by Commissioner Joseph. All in favor, cast your votes. All right, yeas have it, and motion carries. The undersigned, being the duly elected Secretary of St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, hereby certifies that by written consent, the following resolution was duly adopted. Whereas the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority is a public housing agency established pursuant to Louisiana law, and whereas the mission of the authority is to promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and sustainable living environment free from discrimination, and whereas the authority must from time to time let an advertisement of a request for proposal or RFP to select a qualified responsive vendor to complete the work on behalf of the authority. Whereas the authority, in line with the procurement policy, authorizes the executive director or their designee to let an advertisement of an RFP to allow the Board of Commissioners to select a qualified responsive vendor to renovate a fire damage unit at the Boutte property, 200 Boutte Estates Drive, Boutte, Louisiana, Unit 254. And whereas the authority received 4 on-time responsive proposals to its solicitation, and the selected guarantee restoration services, and whereas upon repair work began in the unit in May 2025, it was discovered an electrical wiring issue. An issue with the electrical wiring existed that wasn't seen or known until the demolition had begun. The electrical wire issue is necessitating the need for a change order in the amount of $13,900. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby approves the change order number 1, approves and increases the contract cap from $75,000 to a new contract cap of $88,900, and to provide for related matters to perform the work associated with the RFP 001-2025. All right, and that completes that resolution. Our next resolution is Resolution 25-05-27-03, approving and adopting a resolution for the creation of the St. Charles Parish Emergency Preparedness Plan. The purpose of this memorandum is to provide an overview of the proposed resolution to approve and adopt the resolution for the creation of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Emergency Preparedness Plan. The authority is an agency established pursuant to Louisiana law, whose mission is to promote adequate and affordable housing, economic opportunity, and living environment free from discrimination. Committed to the agency's mission, the staff is continuously working to improve services and strengthen operations and implement sound policy. The authority and its board of commissioners from time to time, as dictated by HUD's federal regulation, must create and revise agency policies and procedures to ensure compliance with federal, state, and local law, as well as look for the efficiency of process. This policy affects the current, incumbent, and future employees and commissioners of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority to ensure transparency and accountability with emergency preparedness matters that affect the agency's operations and residents. This resolution will allow for a creation of the attached policy governing the St. Charles Parish personnel dealing with the emergency preparedness and response matters. Do we have any comments or motion?
The conclusion.
Oh. All right. The emergency preparedness plan has been crafted to create a fair, respectful, and productive work environment for all employees of St. Charles Parish Housing Authority. The plan will be reviewed and updated regularly to remain compliant with the evolving laws and practices in the emergency preparedness management. Employees are encouraged to reach out to their supervisor with any inquiries or concerns regarding the policies outlined in this plan. Approval and adoption of this resolution by the Board of Commissioners is required for the creation of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Preparedness Plan. Staff recommends board approval, adoption, and of the proposed resolution for the creation of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Emergency Preparedness Plan. Sorry about that. Now,
No, we're good.
motion or any comments?
Yeah, just a quick and doing your director's report. In the thank yous that you gave, you answered my question. I was going to ask had we did coordinating with local whoever and we're in good compliance, but I'm going to think the answer to that is yes.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Woods. We had a meeting with EOC personnel a couple of weeks ago, and they did review all the plan as we had initially drafted it. Did make some revisions, and we incorporated those revisions in what is before you tonight. We want to make sure that we are always in alignment with the parish government, considering the fact that they are the leading cognizant agency during any declared disaster. So we want to, of course, make sure that they are they contributed to and assisted us in preparing this. And again, as things change, as situations occur, just with any policy that we have in place, it is open for amendment, modification, and revision.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Compliance.
That's it. Motion. All right. I have a motion from Commissioner Woods, second by Commissioner Joseph. All in favor? Cast your votes. And motion pass. The yeas have it. So the undersigned, being the duly elected Secretary of the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority, hereby certifies that by written consent the following resolution was duly adopted. Whereas the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority is a public housing agency established pursuant to Louisiana law, and whereas the mission of the authority is to promote adequate, affordable housing, economic opportunity, and sustainable living environment free from discrimination. Whereas the authority, as dictated by the federal, state, and local law and regulation, must revise its various policies and procedures to ensure compliance and efficiency of process. And whereas the need arises for the agency to create a policy entitled St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Emergency Preparedness Plan, and whereas the authority and its board of commissioners wish to create the attached St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Emergency Preparedness Plan, now therefore be resolved that the resolution to create a policy entitled the St. Charles Parish Housing Authority Emergency Preparedness Plan is hereby adopted. All right. So do we have any other matters this evening that we'd like to discuss before we move on to the next agenda item? All right. Should we roll on to the RAD Section 18 conversion update?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Have the floor.
So we did have the.
May I have the floor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you again, Commissioner, Vice Chairman Bailey, and Commissioners for being here tonight. We wanted to give a quick update regarding the RAD Section 18 conversion process. We did, as I indicated in the last meeting, have an approved revision for our PHA plan. We have submitted it to HUD for approval, the field office. We are working to get that approval. We have not yet received it, but we're working with our representative of the field office to get that done. That actually, that approval, once that does occur, will allow us to begin to uploading information to the RAD resource desk and the information for the application submission. We did meet with the recap office on May the 20th, a couple of weeks ago, last week, a week ago, to discuss next steps as the technical support provider for the conversion process. The one that we were previously working with, their contract was not renewed, and they were no longer under contract with HUD. So we're actually working with HUD personnel in the recap office, and we've worked to establish a follow-up process as well as a continuing conversation and dialogue to make sure that they are supporting our efforts in getting the conversion process across the finish line. Again, like I mentioned, they did indicate once we did get that approval from the field office that we would be able to start uploading information to the resource desk, and also indicated we did have a number of technical questions about the items to include or the items that needed to be redone, if any. So we're looking forward to a continued conversation with them and their assistance in getting us to where we want to be. So as I said, that's the update that we have for right now. We are still on target to get a plan submitted, an application rather submitted to HUD by February of 26. If we can get that done before that date, that would be great. But we're working with our partners in Standard Enterprises to get that done so that the CHAP could be awarded to us in spring of next year by HUD. So that concludes my report, my update. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we did have on the meeting Commissioner Bailey as well as Richard Murray from Standard Enterprises, along with the representatives from HUD.
Engaged?
It was a good meeting.
All right, good deal.
It seemed like they were on board and to help us get there.
Okay. All right.
They're ready for. I mean, we stressed that we need to get it done, and
Yes.
they were like, "Yes, we're here for you. We're gonna help you get there."
All right, good deal. Only other thing, if I may, our troubled status with HUD. Have we done everything? If there's a checkoff list, have we turned in everything?
Are we still
Is
trying?
is anything outstanding that we need to give them, or just kind of?
So the recovery plan guides our the quantitative side of what we do as it relates to working to improve from the troubled status. Part of that was the Inspire physical assessment scoring, which we've increased greatly. Part of that was the submission and the timely submission of the unaudited and audited reports, which I was happy to report that we've got done. Part of that also was the occupancy rate. We did meet the first benchmark that they established in the recovery plan. And again, I said the goal is to make sure that we get to that 95% prior to the end of the fiscal year. We, according to conversations that I've had with representatives of the field office, we should see an improvement in our score. They just don't know to what yet. Usually in April and May is when you get some sort of update. Have not seen that yet in the PIC system as it relates to our status. But we are moving, and we have positioned ourselves to improve from the troubled status in our scoring for sure.
I got you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess it doesn't hurt. I don't want to be a pest and keep asking,
Absolutely.
but just say, hey, kind of where are we, and if we need something, want to do something. That's just a priority. I'm gonna say for all of us, just to get from under that, so we can really get out there and I'll say present ourselves in a positive person to the public out there. So just a follow up on that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And then our next agenda item is public comments. See that there are anybody in here from the public. I'd like to. We'll move on to adjourning the meeting.
Mr. Chair, with that, I'll make a motion that we adjourn our meeting.
All right. Motion carries. All in favor? Oh, wait. Motion by Commissioner Woods. All in favor? Okay. Motion carries. The regular meeting is now adjourned at 7:08.
All Right.